in a few seconds. So it's now 12:02 p.m. Good afternoon, everyone. And I will call the meeting of the District of Columbia Board of Ethics and Government Accountability to order. This is our December meeting. I'm Norma Hutcheson, the BEGA Chairperson, and due to COVID-19, this meeting is being held virtually via WebEx. And joining me today for this meeting are board members Melissa Tucker, Felice Smith, and Darrin Sobin. I think Mr. Nottingham will be joining us later. But those of us who are here constitute a quorum for the meeting. So I'd ask that, or I note that since it was first posted, the meeting agenda has not been changed. So board members, please take a look at that so that we can have a motion to approve the agenda. Okay. Will someone please make a motion to adopt the agenda for today?
That motion.
Moved.
Okay, was that Ms. Tucker? Okay. Okay, it's been moved and second that we adopt the agenda for today's meeting. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposition? Hearing none, the board has adopted the agenda for today's meeting. Also before us are the minutes from the November 4th meeting, the draft minutes. And please take a second or to review those again, and then I'd like a motion to adopt those minutes.
I'll offer that motion.
Okay. There's a second. Okay, it's been moved and second that the board consider the approval of the November 4th meeting minutes. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? And hearing none, the November 4th, 2021 meeting minutes are approved. We also have before us a schedule of meeting dates for 2022 that were included with the items that were given to us ahead of the meeting. I ask that you review that if you have not already, and then we entertain a motion to adopt the schedule for 2022.
Take that motion to adopt it.
Okay. That a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and second that the board approve the minutes, the schedule of meetings that was presented to us. Please indicate by saying aye if you approve the motion.
Aye.
Aye. Ms. Smith and Ms. Tucker, I didn't hear you.
Oh, I said aye.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Looks like board member Nottingham is trying to get in.
Looks like he's trying to get in.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if someone could help him with that while we move ahead or not, please. Okay. Ms. Cooks, could you try to help Mr. Nottingham get in? And we'll move ahead with the rest of the agenda. Okay. The next item on the agenda for today is the Office of Open Government report from Director Nicael Allen. Please provide a report on behalf of the office, and Ms. Allen is also appearing virtually via WebEx. You may proceed.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chairperson Hutcheson and members of the board. I am Niquelle Allen, Director of Open Government, and I am pleased to present this report on the activities of the Office of Open Government, or OOG. Since the last board meeting, the OOG has continued to fulfill its mission of ensuring that all persons receive full and complete information regarding the affairs of the district government and the actions of those who represent them. I'll start my report with the Open Meetings Act, or OMA, and Freedom of Information Act, or FOIA, advice rendered by the office. First, advisory opinions. OOG has not issued any advisory opinions since the last board meetings. Second is formal FOIA advice. BEGA provided FOIA requesters with correspondence advising them of rules modifying the time period for responding to FOIA requests due to COVID-19 if it was applicable to their FOIA request. The statutory exemption under DC FOIA to toll the processing of FOIA requests due to COVID-19 expired on October 27, 2021. Since BEGA processed FOIA requests under the tolling provision, the agency will respond to all FOIA requests tolled due to BEGA's closed offices on or before January 4th, 2022. Informal OMA and FOIA advice. Since the last board meeting, OOG responded informally via email or telephone to requests for assistance as follows. OOG responded to 15 requests for OMA advice. OOG responded to 12 requests for FOIA advice, and OOG responded to 27 requests for technical assistance with open-gc.gov. The next item is training and outreach. First is mandatory cybersecurity training. On November 1st, 2021, Attorney DeBerry attended the DC government mandatory cybersecurity training. This year's scenario-based training course identifies the most common cybersecurity threats. The next item is the 16th annual AINS user conference. AINS, the provider of FOIA Express platform that many district agencies use to process FOIA requests, hosted a user conference on November 3rd through 4th, which OOG attended. The conference featured online workshops, demonstrations, and seminars on FOIA Express and e-case filing over 2 days. OOG and staff and I attended the following webinars. What's new in FOIA Express version 11? This course detailed the product updates in software and detailed how to use the features to respond to FOIA requests faster and more efficiently. What is a record? This course concerned the federal FOIA definition of a record and the court's guidance on how to identify records. FOIA in the news. This webinar detailed recent FOIA cases regarding procedural issues, reading room access, and deliberative process privilege. FOIA Express 10.7 training workshop. This webinar went through the life cycle of a FOIA request through the FOIA Express platform. Product roadmap, audit, and investigation overview. This webinar detailed the litigation hold, security, and reporting features of FOIA Express and detailed how to use this platform for audits and investigations. Accident investigation and record keeping demo. This webinar tracks safety modules that are available on the platform. And lastly, ergonomics of working from home. This webinar discussed guidelines for improving workplace practices from home, including how to set up your workspace and taking breaks from screen time. The next item is the FOIA ANC meeting. On November 11th, 2021, I, along with Chief Counsel Barton, met remotely with Shanette Grant, the Interim Executive Director of the DC Office of Advisory Neighborhood Commissions, or OANC, and Attorney Kathy S. Williams, who is a Special Assistant to the Interim Executive Director. We discussed the OOG statutory duties pursuant to DC Law 21269, the ANC Omnibus Amendment Act of 2016 to coordinate with OANC to include OOG developed FOIA training materials in the commissioner training sessions provided by the ONC, to provide a training session at least twice per calendar year on their obligations under FOIA, to which all commissioners are invited, and to coordinate with that office to maintain and improve public transparency, including coordinating with ANCs to fulfill FOIA requests. The next item is Mayor Bowser's cabinet meeting. On November 12th, I attended the mayor's cabinet meeting at Banneker High School. The meeting featured updates on the district's vaccination rates and COVID-19 pandemic response. The meeting also discussed plans regarding the post-pandemic workplace and the DC-1 fund. The next item is OMA training and Foia training. On November 17th, Chief Counsel Barton presented OMA and Foia training for the District of Columbia Sentencing Commission. I, along with the OOG staff, attended the trainings. The training courses were the OOG's basic OMA and Foia training designed to give introductory instruction on both topics. The next item is Robert's Rules Made Simple for DC Government. On November 19th, Susan Leahy and James Stewart of Robert's Rules Made Simple providing a training on parliamentary procedures for the public body administrative points of contact. I, along with Chief Counsel Barton and Attorney Weil, attended. I provided an overview of the parliamentary procedure training portal, which is on our website, and Ms. Leahy and Mr. Stewart taught the substantive portion of the hour concerning the 7 fundamental motions and the authorship of minutes and bylaws. The training was well attended by the administrative points of contact as well as members of boards and commissions. The next item is the litigation and legislative update. First is litigation. OOG is monitoring FOIA-related cases in DC Superior Court, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the DC Circuit, and the United States District Court for the District of Columbia and nationwide. The agency is not a party to any of the lawsuits. I am providing this information for the board's awareness of litigation that may impact the operation and interpretation of DC FOIA law. The first matter is the Judicial Watch lawsuit regarding autopsy records. On March 19th and May 24th, Judicial Watch Incorporated filed the respective complaints in DC Superior Court seeking specific performance and appealing the denials of DC FOIA requests of the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner, OCME, and the Metropolitan Police Department. These records relate to the insurrection on the U.S. Capitol on January 6th and the death of the Capitol Police officer during the event. On November 3rd, the district filed an unopposed motion to consolidate the actions because both concern the request to the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner that are likely to raise questions of law, and both parties are working to narrow the issues presented in both cases, and a consent motion for an extension. On November 5th, the court granted both motions, finding that the 2 cases involved the same parties, records from the same district agencies, and common questions of law. The order consolidated the 2 cases and reset the initial scheduling conference for February 4th, 2022 at 9 a.m. It also requires a joint status report regarding the efforts to narrow the issues in the dispute due January 19th, 2022, and requires the district to file its answer to both cases on or before January 19th, 2022. The complaints, motion to consolidate, and the consolidation extension order are in Dropbox for your review. The next case is Tamel DuBose lawsuit regarding the DC Board of Dentistry resumes, experts, complaints, and decisions. On January 20th, 2018, Dr. Tamel DuBose sued the district under DC FOIA, seeking certain records from the Board of Dentistry, challenging the assessment of fees. Following the Superior Court's orders of September 13th, November 18th, and November 26, 2019, granting summary judgment to the district, Dr. DuBose appealed. The Court of Appeals heard oral arguments on November 30th, 2021. Attorney Weil attended virtually on behalf of OOG. A summary of the parties' arguments follows. Counsel for Appellant DuBose's argument is 1, the Board of Dentistry sought fees over $9,000 and offered no breakdown to itemize the cost of each of the 6 line items of the request. The search has to be reasonable so as to minimize its amount. Some of the records requested were electronic records and already had been produced for a federal database. There is no reading room provided by DC Health, though they are supposed to make these things, quote, available without a request. The requester had an IT expert testify in Superior Court that the decisions could not be found on the board's website as required. The large fee and lack of itemized breakdown were intended to delay and discourage the requester's pursuit of the records. DC Foia's public policy in favor of disclosure implies a minimization of cost to the requesters, and the district delayed response compels the complete waivers of fees. The counsel for the district argued the scope of the request was not just final. The scope of the request was not just final order and decisions to be posted on the website. It included complaints, among other things, and there were 174 complaints that needed to be reviewed, including paper files. The appellant's argument that some of the records were produced for the National Data Bank was raised too late because he first raised the issue in his reply brief. The argument only relates to orders and decisions. The appellant did not show to what amount, if at all, the release to the databank would impact fees assessed against him. The appellant misrepresents the situation with the website. The fact that he could not find decisions did not mean they were not there. He concluded that he found 9 of them, which comports with how many actually existed. As a matter of law, the district's response was at least adequate. The $9,000 was not based on the decisions that were required to be posted, but on the review of the paper files. The appellant was in control of the scope of his own request, and the Board of Dentistry had advised him to narrow the scope. The waiver of the fees was in discretion of the public body. Dr. DeBose had not indicated how the records would benefit the public. The records show that the rationale for his request was to enhance his commercial viability as a consultant. Denial of the fee waiver can be attacked only through a separate lawsuit, not directly on appeal, and the tardiness of response does not compel a waiver. The remedy for the requester is administrative exhaustion, not an automatic free documents. The OOG will continue to monitor these matters and report any changes and new development to the board. The last item on my report are administrative matters. FY23 budget submission. On November 5th, 2021, BEGA completed its FY23 submission to the Executive Office of the Mayor. And on November 18th, Acting Director Cooks and I, along with the Chief Financial Officer, attended our budget review team meeting with the Office of Budget and Performance Management to discuss our 2023 budget. We sought several budget enhancements to ensure BEGA meets its mission and program goals. The primary enhancement we sought is our relocation to a leased facility. This request is supported and authorized by the City Administrator and the Department of General Services, so we anticipate its approval and inclusion in our budget. We also made 2 enhancements directly related to OOG. First is to reclassify OOG's position. We're looking to work with DCHR to properly classify the Chief Counsel position and Attorney Advisor position. Right now, it is classified as a 12, but we need to reclassify it as a 13. We're seeking the funds to do this properly in FY23. We're also looking to add a OOG legal fellow, and as Director Cooks will explain, there will be a second one for OGE. We're looking to have a paid legal fellow to support the Office of Open Government. This concludes the Office of Open Government's December 2nd, 2021 report. Thank you, and if you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you, Director Allen. Before we have any comments, I just want to note that Mr. Nottingham has joined our meeting, so all board members are here. Okay, Mr. Sobin, you had a comment or question?
Yeah, not a question, just a comment. I did look at your the accomplishments memo that you did.
Yes.
For OOG, and I just want to commend you on doing that. I mean, I know it's a requirement, but it's also very, very helpful to us. And there were a number of years that that it wasn't being done. So I'm very happy to see that it is being done now, and all the great accomplishments over the last year. So thank you.
You're welcome.
And just so the record's clear, it wasn't, when I said that there were a number of years it wasn't being done, it wasn't under your watch.
Thank you.
Okay. Any questions for Ms. Allen before we move on? Other comments? Okay, well, next, also via WebEx, we will hear from Acting Director of the Office of Government Ethics, Ms. Ashley Cooks. Please proceed.
Good afternoon, Chairperson Hutcheson and members of the board. I'm Ashley Cooks, the Acting Director of Government Ethics. I'm pleased to present this report on the activities of the Office of Government Ethics, OGE. First, update on status of OGE operations. The information reported today regarding OGE's cases will not reflect any status changes that may occur as a result of actions taken by the board during today's meeting. So first, open investigations by status. We have 55 open investigations. 2 of them are pending negotiations for a total of 57. Next is open undocketed matters. We have a grand total of 6 undocketed matters. Pending state investigations by status. We have 26 closed pending collection matters, 1 closed pending DC Superior Court case, 4 state OAG False Claims Act cases, 8 matters that are stayed for an OIG investigation, 2 matters that are stayed for a U.S. District Court case, for a grand total of 41 matters. Next, regulatory matters by status. Closed pending collection, we have a grand total of 27 matters. We currently have 57 open investigations and 14 state investigations. The number of open preliminary and formal investigations includes 8 new matters open since the last board meeting. The investigative team resolved 17 preliminary investigations since the last board meeting. Auditor Tajuba completed the 3rd quarter calendar year 2021 complaint intake and processing audit, and questions were sent to the investigations team. Next is training and outreach. First, professional development trainings attended by staff. Several members of OGE took the annual mandatory cybersecurity training from the Office of the Chief Technology Officer. Administrative Officer Tyrell Dow completed PeopleSoft Commitment Accounting, PeopleSoft eRecruit, and FMLA coordinating training. Program Specialist Stan Kozik took the Future Government Workplace, Building Innovative Workplaces to Drive Employee Productivity and Better Serve Constituents from Anywhere. Auditor Tajuba completed the following trainings: choosing the right interpersonal communication method to make your point, facing virtual team challenges, business analysis, professional effectiveness, competencies, clarity and conciseness in business writing, and key elements of business execution. I attended the Inclusion and Equity Summit virtual conference. Trainings conducted by staff. Since the last board meeting, OGE attorneys conducted 3 ethics trainings, which included our monthly ethics training, and 2 boards and commissions trainings, one for the DC Commission on Arts and Humanities, and the other for the Public Employee Relations Board. OGE hosted a virtual brown bag on Monday, November 29th, 2021, to address popular seasonal topics, giving and receiving gifts, holiday parties, and the local hat check. The event was well attended by ethics counselors and even a council member. 35 employees completed our online ethics training via PeopleSoft. The learning management system. So OGE is putting the final touches on its ethics learning management system, the LMS. Some of the courses will include developing an ethical culture, becoming an ethical leader, an ethical decision-making framework, the role of the ethics and compliance program, culture carriers, as well as our code of conduct, local hatch act, council code of conduct, and boards and commissions training. OGE will make the LMS available to a select number of ethics counselors before allowing employees to access the site. Next is advisory opinions and advice. First, informal advice. OGE's legal staff provided advice for approximately 34 ethics inquiries, which is 4 more than the 30 reported at the November meeting. This number does not include responses we have provided to questions regarding the Lobbyist and FDS e-filing systems. OGE has not drafted any advisory opinions since the last board meeting. Legislative updates. On October 27, 2021, the Committee on the Judiciary and Public Safety held a virtual public hearing on the Pro Bono Legal Representation Expansion Amendment Act of 2021, Bill 24-0298. The bill is an amendment to Section 223 of the Ethics Act, which will allow employees to provide pro bono legal representation before district courts and federal courts and district and federal agencies. The committee is preparing the bill for markup at the next hearing. Next is OGE Administrative Matters, OGE Staffing. We advertised a vacancy announcement for an attorney advisor through October 20th and interviewed 4 applicants before the Thanksgiving holiday. We have tentatively reached a decision, so pending reference calls, we are prepared to make an offer to the selected candidate by the end of the week. OGE is working with the Department of Human Resources to draft position descriptions for a human resources specialist and a chief of staff, also in conjunction with OOG. Once those position descriptions are certified, both vacancies will be posted on Careers DC and LinkedIn. Next is the budget. On November 4th, 2021, Director Allen and I submitted BEGA's 2023 budget submission to the Executive Office of the Mayor. The submission included budget enhancement requests for office relocation funding, legal fellows, a supervisory investigator, a public information officer, and OOG's reclassifications, as Director Allen has stated. A copy of the budget request team slide deck was uploaded to the Dropbox for your review. Next is Financial Disclosure Statement, FDS. On October 15th, OGE notified the district council members and their chiefs of staff that their fall 2021 financial disclosures were due by November 15th. Reminders were sent on November 4th, 12th, and 15th. All council members have filed their statements. Auditor Chaduba completed the audit of the council members' public FDS forms, and only minor findings were noted. The FDS team met with a vendor to discuss the next phase of enhancements to the FDS e-filing system and to establish OGE's priorities. We anticipate implementing enhancements to improve the filing system for advisory neighborhood commissioners, implementing an e-signature certification, and enhancing the administrative controls. The FDS team continues to work with financial disclosure standard operating, continues to work on the financial disclosure SOP, standard operating procedure manual. Enforcement and collection activities continue with the Office of Pay and Retirement, and the FDS team is preparing for the 2022 filing period by finalizing ethics counselor list and updating training materials. Next is lobbyist registration and reporting. OGE received 23 filings in November. Of note, OGE received 10 new registrations, 6 amended renewals, 5 amended activity reports, and 2 activity reports. The LRR team will host lobbyist trainings in December and January. The trainings will focus on the definition of lobbying, how and when to file a registration and activity report, and enforcement. And last is formal investigations. The first one is 22-0002F, Henry Neil Albert. This is a formal investigation pursuant to DC Official Code Section 1-116212B, and is based on allegations that the respondent, former chairman of the DC Housing Authority's Board of Commissioners, voted to award contracts to Moya Design Partners, Moya Design, and failed to disclose a close personal relationship with the owner of Moya Design. OGE is continuing its efforts to investigate this matter by gathering evidence and interviewing witnesses. The next matter is 22-001F, Henry Michael Redman. This matter is a formal investigation pursuant to DC Official Code Section 1-116212B, and is based on allegations that the respondent maintained a full-time job as a principal in the Providence, Rhode Island school system while simultaneously working as an assistant principal for DC Public School Kramer Middle School from July 2020 until November 2020. A notice of violation was approved by the board at the last meeting. Respondent's answer was placed in the Dropbox for your review. Thank you. This concludes the Office of Government Ethics, December 2nd, 2021 report.
Thank you, Director Cooks. Are there any questions for Director Cooks? Any questions? Hearing none, we'll move to the next item on the agenda, and that's public comments. My understanding is that we did not receive any public comments for today. Did that change as of 11 o'clock today? Or after?
That did
11
not
o'clock?
change.
Okay, great. Okay, then the next item on the agenda is executive closed sessions. This item is to discuss ongoing confidential investigations pursuant to DC Official Code Section 2-575B14, to consult with an attorney to obtain legal advice and to preserve the attorney-client privilege between an attorney and a public body pursuant to DC Official Code Section 2-575B4A, to discuss personnel matters, including the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, performance evaluation, compensation, discipline, demotion, removal, or resignation of government appointees, employees, or officials pursuant to DC Official Code Section 2-575B10, to deliberate on a decision in which the Ethics Board will exercise quasi-judicial functions pursuant to DC Official Code Section 2-575B13, and to discuss contract negotiation strategies pursuant to DC Official Code Section 2-575B2. May I have a motion to enter into executive session?
I'll offer that motion that we enter into executive session.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and second that the board enter into executive session. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Okay, any opposition? Hearing none, board members, please log out of this session and log into the WebEx executive session. Once we've completed the executive session, we'll return to report out any matters decided and finish any other business and adjourn the meeting. Thank you.
Melissa is stuck in the attendee box. Yvonne, can you move her to the panelist list?
Okay. Um, it looks like I've lost, okay, no, we're here. Okay, the time is now 2:22 p.m. and we are back on the record. The board approved the negotiated disposition in case number 21-0059-P in the matter of A Rittenhour, and in the matter of case number 22-0001-F in Ray M. Redmond, the board approved the scheduling order as well as the hearing for that matter. So with that, I think we are done. We've concluded our meeting for today, and our next meeting will be on January 6th, 2022 at 12 noon. I wish all of you to have a happy and safe holiday season, and we will see you in the new year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Take care, everybody.
Okay. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.